Moshe was banished. He didn't get to go into, like you was just saying, he didn't enter the land of Canaan. He passed away on the hill, right?
Yeah, that's for a simple reason, because God told him to speak to the stone, and instead he hit the stone. What happened is the problem wasn't the miracle that came out from hitting the stone. The problem, what became, is people started seeing Moses as a deity, that he could do miracles without following the word of God. That would be a destruction of the legacy of Moses if it continued. That's why God had to end the life of Moses with the end of the desert, and not bring him into the promised land. Because in the promised land, Moses would have been turned into an idol.
Right, but that precedes my point. That proves my point that someone as Gadosh as Moshe was dealt with so harshly, right? And he only did one thing wrong. So imagine the things, like, I'm not saying you, Rabbi, but me. I've done despicable things. I've done things that like, yeah, are bad, right?
We all do.
So if that was Moses's punishment, what is going to be mine?
Okay, look, who said Moses was punished? It was a saving of his legacy. The fact that Moses could not enter the promised land is because otherwise he would have been turned into an idolatry, an idol. God preserved the legacy of Moses. We are all descendants of Moses. Why? Because we're studying his Torah. If Moses had been turned into an idol, that would be the end of the whole Torah. So the reason Moses did not go into the promised land was not because he was punished. To the contrary, he was rewarded by being protected. Yes, he suffered a consequence that he couldn't go into the promised land. But that consequence is unfortunate reality of life. There's nothing God would do to reverse it. Because if God would let Moses go into the promised land, the outcome would have been worse.
Yeah.
Let me give you a real example in real life. Okay, imagine if you had a lot of money, what you would have done with the money. And you probably would have made some stupid decisions. Okay, I know it happened in my life. So what God does is keeps me from making those stupid decisions. How? By not giving me the money. So is it cruel for God not to give me money? Or is God protecting me?
He's protecting you, right?
Exactly. That's precisely the point. See, we don't see it the same way. We struggle because we have expectations. We have our ego at stake. But God has the best interest at stake. What would be the best outcome here?